The hunt begins speed, power, pure instinct. When the hunt begins, there's no turning back. Every second is a fight for survival, where hesitation means failure, and failure could mean death. These aren't staged scenes or second takes. This is the raw, unfiltered war between man and beast. With rifles ready and hearts pounding, the hunters enter the wild, and only one will walk out on top. Are you brave enough to face the beast? Comment 1 if you're ready to join the hunt. Ozark Mountains, Missouri. The shadow. We begin deep in Missouri's Ozark Mountains, a land of jagged rock, hidden trails, and shadows that move when you're not looking. At 5 a.m., Ronan starts his truck, its engine cutting through the morning mist like a blade. His dog, ears perked, is already locked in. They're not chasing a rumor today, they're tracking the legend locals call the shadow. 30 minutes into the forest, breath fogging in the cold air, it happens. A blur, a charge. A massive wild hog barrels toward Ronan, eyes burning with wild fury. Most would freeze, Ronan doesn't. One shot, one breath. The shadow is no more. But this is just the first step. Felix's silent standoff. Felix crouches with his team. The air is thick, heavy with silence. For 15 agonizing minutes, nothing. Then it appears a shape gliding through the valley. Felix doesn't blink. No dramatic movement. Just a steady breath, a squeeze of the trigger. One shot, no sound. The beast drops. Precision wins the day. Texas skies. Helicopter hunt. When the terrain becomes unforgiving, you take to the sky. Over the wild expanse of Texas, Dustin's team lifts off, helicopter blades slicing the dusk air. They fly low, hugging the earth, scouring the land below. Then the shots begin, clean, ruthless. One by one, hogs drop in the fields. Their reign ends in the shadow of spinning blades. Tonight, the sky belongs to the hunters. Appalachian Mountains, Tennessee. The hillside shot in Tennessee's Appalachian Mountains. The brush is thick, the ground steep, and the game cunning. Lewis gets into position, eyes fixed across the ridge. Minutes pass, then a hog appears, nosing the grass. It never sees him. One clean shot, and it drops. In these hills, patience pays off. Gorski Kors. Maze of brush and rock. The Gorski Kors is a tangled world of brush and rock, where wild hogs vanish like ghosts. Scott's pack of dogs move ahead, scenting the wind. 10 minutes in, they erupt. A hog bursts out, furious and fast. Scott doesn't panic. One shot later, the beast lies still. Stephen's solo shot in the forest, alone in the woods. Stephen hears the dogs before he sees the target. Barks echo through the trees, then crashing. The hog breaks cover, a blur of rage and muscle. Stephen raises his rifle. One shot. Over Mississippi fields, chaos and disease. Wild hogs destroy more than just crops. They leave fields in ruin, livestock at risk, and disease in their wake. Mississippi's farmland is under siege. These aren't just animals, they're biological wrecking balls. The hunters know the truth. Stop them now, or lose the land forever. The rally point. A tense encounter at the rally point. Tension is thick. The team readies gear, scanning every inch of brush. Then, barks erupt. A hog charges through the thicket. No time for fear. One clean shot and the earth shakes as it hits the ground. The ambush fails. The hunter doesn't. Deep forest pursuit, quick reflexes. The forest grows darker, thicker. The dogs press on, wild with scent. Suddenly, a hog explodes from the brush. I'm faster. The rifle kicks. The hog stumbles, drops. Deeper in, another is cornered. Surrounded, it gives up the fight. One more shot. Another victory. Lone hunter in the woods. Ambush tactics. I move alone. Every crack of a branch is a warning. Footsteps approach multiple. I don't wait. I fire. One down. Ambush turned upside down. Precision shooting, no room for error. Wild hogs aren't stupid. They learn. They hide. That's why we never drop our guard. A rustle. A flash. The rifle fires. Another hog falls. We don't miss. Daylight chase. Never-ending hunt. The sun burns high. The hunt never slows. I wait. A shape moves. I aim. I fire. The hog collapses. The hunt rolls on. Cornfield offensive. Silent precision in Florida's open fields. There's nowhere to hide. Bullets tear through silence. The hogs scatter, but there's no escape. A massive hog turns, charging. Will you shoot or freeze? That second decides everything. The destructive force of wild hogs. These beasts don't destroy to live. They destroy because they can. Crops crushed, pipes snapped, equipment ruined. They are chaos in muscle and tusk. And they're coming. Combine harvester strategy, cornering the beast. They think the harvester won't reach them. But when the machine moves, the hiding ends. The hogs run, the trap closes. One shot from the field's edge. No drama, just silence. Another one down. Vineyard hunt. Pack dogs lead the charge, the vineyard is ruined. The dogs bark and bolt. I follow fast. A hog bursts out. One shot. Clean. That's how it ends? Motorcycle pursuit. The final shot, an open green field. A hog bolts. We chase on motorcycles. The first shots miss. The second too. But we don't stop, I close in. I aim. This time perfect. The hog falls. The field is safe. He hunt never ends one by one. The beasts fall. But the wild doesn't sleep. These hogs are fast, strong, and always ready to strike again. Our battle for the land is far from over. The hunt never ends. Stay alert, stay armed, and stay ready. Because tomorrow, we go back into the wild. Ozark Mountains, the Asachedio, they say something ancient lurks in the Ozarks. Something that watches, waits, and never forgets. Most stories fade with time, but not this one. It only grows darker, deeper, deadlier, because what hides in those mist-covered peaks isn't a ghost. It isn't a myth. It's something far worse, something real. And if you think you've heard every story the mountains can tell, think. Again, it began with whispers. Locals spoke of a tall, dark figure moving through the trees just after dusk. No sound, no footprints, no face. Just a towering silhouette that vanished the second you turned to look. People called it the shadow. Not because of what it looked like, but because of what it did. Wherever it passed, animals fled. Lights flickered. Radios crackled. And sometimes people disappeared. One night, a hunter named Travis hiked into the Ozarks with his dog, Boone. He knew those trails better than his own backyard. But as the sun dropped behind the ridge, Boone started growling at nothing. Travis brushed it off, thinking maybe a bobcat was nearby. Then came the silence. Number. Birds, no bugs. Not even wind. Just a stillness so heavy, it felt like the woods were holding their breath. Then Boone bolted. Travis chased after him, yelling his name. He found the dog at the edge of a clearing, trembling, tail tucked, and that's when he saw it. A figure. 8 feet tall. Not moving, not breathing. Just standing there, halfway between the trees, half shadow and half nightmare. He blinked, and it was gone. But what happened next was even stranger. Travis's compass started spinning. His GPS lost signal. No matter which way he turned, the trail looked unfamiliar. He walked in circles for hours. Finally, at dawn, he found his way back. But Boone was gone, never found. And Travis, he was never the same. He wouldn't speak of what he saw. Wouldn't go near the woods again. Years passed and more sightings were reported. Campers woke up to find their tents slashed from the outside, but nothing stolen. Hikers vanished without a trace. Their phones discovered days later, photos corrupted, GPS logs erased. Even experienced park rangers started quitting. Some claimed the land had changed. That the forest wasn't just growing. It was shifting. Like it was alive. And hiding something. Locals say there are places deep in the Ozarks where no trail dares go. Where moss grows too thick and the trees lean in like they're whispering secrets. These are the places the shadow calls home. The creature never chases. It doesn't need to. It lets fear do the work. Because once you've seen it, truly seen it, you're never free again. People report dreams filled with black forests and glowing eyes. Some even claim they've heard whispers in their sleep. The same phrase over and over. You looked too long. A former firefighter named Eli moved to the area to escape the noise of the city. He liked the silence. Until it started to feel wrong. He'd hear heavy footsteps on his roof at night. Sometimes his porch light would switch off by itself. He set up cameras, motion sensors, even tripwires. Nothing ever showed. But each morning, he'd find claw marks across the back door. Not scratches, claw marks, deep, measured, like something was warning him. Then his daughter disappeared. She had gone into the woods with friends. They were only gone an hour. But when they came back, she was gone, and none of them remembered what happened. Not one. They all blacked out at the same time. Search dogs refused to enter the area. Drones crashed. And when Eli tried to go in, himself, his compass snapped in half. To this day, his daughter's never been found. So what is it? Some say it's a spirit bound to the land. Others think it's a cryptid, a creature born from something ancient and long buried. There's even a theory that it's a guardian punishing anyone who goes too deep, sees too much, or gets too close to the truth. But the most terrifying theory? That the shadow isn't alone. That it's just the first of many. And the Ozarks are merely the edge of something bigger. Something that stretches far beneath the surface, across mountains, caves, and time itself. But here's the part that keeps people awake at night. Sightings are increasing. It's being seen farther from the mountain now, closer to homes. Closer to roads. Some say it means the forest is growing restless. Others believe it's hunting. So the next time you're deep in the woods and everything goes silent, don't call out. Don't move, don't even breathe, because the shadow isn't far. It's already watching, and once you've seen it, it never lets you go. And maybe the scariest part of all? No one who's come face to face with it has ever truly escaped. Not in their minds, not in their dreams, and maybe not even in this world. The fox that hunted Echuantiras in the quiet forests of northern Europe, where hunters believe they rule the food chain, a single fox turned that belief into a nightmare. This wasn't a fable. This wasn't folklore. This was real. A fox so cunning, so dangerous, it earned a nickname that sent shivers down the spine of even the most seasoned trackers, the Red Phantom. Because for the first time, the predator wasn't the hunter. It was the hunted. It started with simple traps going missing. Seasoned hunters would set snares for small game, only to return and find them dismantled. No blood, no fur. Just snapped wires and bent metal, like someone or something knew exactly how they worked. Then came the broken trail cams. At first, people blamed bears or wolves, but the damage was too precise. The SD cards were taken, the lenses smeared with mud. Someone or something was deliberately avoiding being seen. Then, one night, an experienced hunter named Rolf went missing. Rolf was known as the best fox hunter in the region. He'd bagged dozens of them, called them vermin. But during one cold evening hunt, he radioed in, whispering that he saw something strange, eyes too far apart, moving too fast. Then the radio cut out. Search parties found his rifle on the ground. His footprints went in circles, overlapping like he was being herded. Then they vanished, just gone, as if the forest had swallowed him whole. A week later, the local wildlife warden received a package. Inside was Rolf's hunting cap, and a single fox tooth embedded in it like a warning. More stories followed. Hunters finding their camps destroyed overnight. Gunpowder soaked with water. Ammo gone. Once, someone even found a trail of fox prints, leading right into their tent. And none leading out. But the strangest detail? The prints always stopped at the sleeping bag, as if the fox had just stood there, watching them sleep. Local legends started to grow. They said this fox was no ordinary animal, that it had learned the habits of humans, understood how they hunted, and had begun to fight back. One man, a former military sniper turned hunter, swore he saw it watching him from the trees. He fired. Missed. Then the next morning, he woke up with claw marks on the side of his truck and all 4 tires slashed. Some called it a curse. Others said it was nature correcting itself. But the fear was real. Hunts began to slow down. People avoided the woods, and those who dared go in never went alone. One group of hunters set out to trap it using advanced motion sensors and bait laced with GPS tags. What they found instead was terrifying. The bait remained untouched, but all 3 of their tents were slashed. Their gear was rearranged in perfect lines, and carved into a tree near the camp, 3 claw marks. Clean, deliberate, almost ... human. A journalist named Lenny took interest and traveled to the area to investigate. She expected a rural myth, a story for clicks. But what she found chilled her to the bone. Locals refused to talk, even when offered money. One elderly man finally spoke, but only in whispers. He claimed the fox had once been part of a scientific experiment, something about cognitive enhancement, intelligence trials. He said they were trying to make animals smarter. But it worked too well. According to the old man, the fox had escaped, killed the lead researcher, and vanished into the wild. No one could prove it. No records remained. But Lenny found one thing: an old photo. In it stood a young scientist, smiling, next to a cage. Inside, a fox with eyes too intelligent, too aware. On the back of the photo were 3 words: she remembers everything. The more Lenny dug, the more disturbed she became. She found evidence of sabotage, guns jamming, boots sliced clean through, footprints showing a fox walking upright. Impossible, she thought, until she found the video. It was grainy, flickering, but clear enough. Shot from a forgotten motion camera deep in the forest. In the clip, a figure moves low to the ground fast. It circles a campfire, then stops. For one terrifying second, it looks into the lens. Not just a fox, something more. Its eyes didn't shine with fear. They shimmered with understanding. And then it vanished. Lenny left the forest that night and never returned. But she left one final message for the world. If you think this is a story about a clever fox, you're wrong. This is a warning. We taught her to think. Now she's teaching herself to hunt. To this day, no one's captured the Red Phantom. No trail cams. No traps. No tracks. Just stories, whispers, warnings carved in trees and scratched in steel. Some believe she still roams the forests of Europe. Others think she's moved on smarter, deadlier, always watching. Because she doesn't just survive, she learns. And now she knows everything about us. So next time you enter the woods thinking you're the hunter, remember, there's something out there smarter than you. And she's already learned how to disappear, how to trick you, how to make you afraid. Of the dark, she's not just fighting back. She's winning. Giant hippo hunters in the heart of Africa, where rivers twist like serpents and the night air trembles with ancient growls, a war has erupted. Not between humans and each other, but between humans and one of the most dangerous animals on Earth. Hippo. You may think of hippos as slow and chubby giants, but that idea might get you killed. Because these creatures are not gentle. They're monsters in disguise. And when they began terrorizing villages, eating crops, crushing boats, and killing without warning, a new kind of warrior had to rise. Not soldiers, not poachers, but the giant hippo hunters. The story begins near Lake Victoria, where rising waters pushed hippos closer to humans. At first, it was just sightings, hippos walking through farmland, trampling fields. But soon, livestock started disappearing. One morning, a farmer found his cows shredded, blood soaked into the mud. No one saw what happened. But the massive tracks told the story. A hippo had passed through, and it hadn't just killed. It had rampaged. Then came the river attacks. Fishermen's boats were flipped and smashed like toys. Survivors said the hippos came silently, their eyes glowing in the moonlight, then struck. With terrifying force. One man, barely alive, described how a hippo bit through a wooden canoe in seconds, then charged after the people swimming away. Authorities were helpless. Hippos are protected in many areas, and killing one requires permits, procedures, and risk. But locals couldn't wait. They began forming hunting parties. Not for sport, for survival, but these weren't ordinary hippos. Reports started flooding in, some growing nearly twice the normal size. Males weighing up to 7,000 pounds, with tusks longer than baseball bats. Villagers called one of them Shetani, which means devil in Swahili. It was said to have a scar down its face and a missing ear, a beast that returned to the same village 3 times, each time leaving a trail of crushed fences and broken bones. This is where the hunters come in. Not trophy seekers, but men with nerves of steel and weapons forged from desperation. They studied the hippos' movements, learned their patterns. They used canoes with reinforced steel tips, rifles with custom rounds. They even tracked at night, guided only by sound and firelight. Because they knew something most people didn't. Hippos aren't scared of humans. They don't run. They charged. One hunter named Baraka became a legend. He had lost his brother to a rogue bull hippo and vowed to stop it. For weeks, he tracked the animal through wetlands and islands. He slept in trees, ate what he could catch. And when he finally faced the monster, the fight shook the land. Witnesses say the hippo rose from the water like a submarine and rammed the boat, throwing Baraka into the river. But he didn't panic. He swam to the bank, waited, then lured it out and shot it through the eye at close range. But that victory wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. More reports followed. Hippos with unusual aggression, attacking in groups, breaking through barriers they used to avoid. Some began hunting at night, a behavior not seen before. Theories spread. Was climate change forcing them out? Had they adapted to human patterns? Or was something deeper happening, an evolution in behavior, where the hunted were becoming the hunters? Some scientists started to observe strange patterns. Hippos that used to flee from loud noises were now charging toward them. Calves were mimicking the adult's aggression. It wasn't just instinct. It was learning. As if the animals were watching, adjusting, evolving. Hunters had to adapt too. They built floating blinds, used night vision scopes, and planted decoys. But even with every trick, many never returned. One group was found days later, their gear shredded, their boat half submerged, claw and bite marks on every surface. Only clue was a deep circular print in the mud too large for any known hippo. Locals whispered a new name, Mamba Mzito, or heavy mouth. A hippo so big it left sinkholes where it walked. Some believe the land is cursed. That hippos are the spirits of angry ancestors. Others say it's nature's revenge. Humans pushed too far, and now the wild is pushing back. But regardless of belief, the fear is real. Even the hunters admit it. Each trip into the reeds could be their last. And yet they go. Not for glory. Not for trophies. But because someone has to. If they don't act, families will die. Villages will fall. So they move silently through the swamps, hearts pounding, listening for the faintest ripple, the softest grunt in the distance. Because they know that when a hippo charges, you don't get a second chance. The war between man and beast continues. And while the hippos may not understand borders or politics, they understand one thing. This land is theirs. Always has been. In a world where we believe we control nature, the giant hippo hunters serve as a reminder we're not at the top of the food chain. Not here, not anymore.